This will bring a 36% increase in profits by 2020. It will position your unique brand globally. And finally, it will maintain your cohesive company culture that prioritizes its people. So first, I'll take you through a bit of our analysis of your audience and your instruments. We realize that you are a very democratic company and you cater to all ages. But one of your key target group is still middle-income millennials. In the content you provided us, your revenue is increasing gradually. But if you convert this to US dollars, it's actually been more unstable. And finally, we realize that you have a diverse portfolio, but your main instrument is still sunglasses, and that's what we want to focus on today. So, where are your performances? This map shows the country where you're currently present in the green color, and yellow color, future expansion opportunities. And what we want to focus on is Brazil and the US, because that is where your main revenue comes from, and you already have market share in both of these countries. However, your home market of Brazil is becoming more and more uncertain. GDP is decreasing, consumer spending is decreasing, and the currency is devaluating. I want to highlight the currency devaluation because that affects your spending power when investing and buying products abroad. Furthermore, the competitive landscape is becoming more saturated. Competitors are moving into the Brazil market very aggressively, and you're very heavily invested in this market. Therefore, it's imperative that chili beans expand abroad. And what we want to present to you, what we want you to do, is to expand more aggressively in the US market. We want this because it's already your second largest revenue driver. It's a huge consumer market, and your CEO, Carlito Maia, has it as personal ambition to conquer this market because conquering the US is the stepping stone to conquering the world. So how are we going to do this, and what tools are you going to use to do this? We considered various alternatives. The first being setting up your own stores, but that is costly and time consuming. Secondly, we thought about the franchising model. But our analysis shows that with the franchise model, you won't be able to have the control of your brand that we feel is imperative to entering this and spreading your brand in this market. We also consider retailing, but there you run the risk of diluting your brand. So finally, we looked at the kiosk because it's fast alternative and it's a low cost alternative. However, you've been experiencing some problems with this in the past. So our mission became, how are we going to revamp this tool, the kiosk, to spread your brand across the US? And my colleague Kevin will now tell you how you should do this.
Awesome. Thanks, Anton. So now imagine this. While you're all sitting here, in front of you, you have an amazing Rolling Stones concert, surrounded by tens of thousands of roaring fans, before quickly switching over to an art gallery done by Banksy. These are the type of experiences that we want to share with consumers, and we can do so by redefining our kiosks. We propose of implementing virtual reality kiosks that will be able to deliver your high brand, as well as this idea of a lifestyle to your consumers. Now, there are concerns with kiosks in the past. We have closed 12 over the past few years, and in addition, kiosks are combined with this notion that they are selling unattractive and low-quality products. But we want to combat this stereotype by implementing this high-tech integration and by offering consumers a more interactive and fun way about approaching your products. So, the virtual reality kiosk will immediately pique consumer interest. As people are walking down the mall, you'll see kiosks with these virtual reality headsets that have videos that are showing 360 views of various different types of sporting events or concerts or art galleries, which are all advertisements that showcase the lifestyle of that, which is Chili Bean. We want to also include the fact that as people are waiting in line, your sales force will be able to talk about the great aspects of your products and really sell the company. Moreover, within these videos, we also want to touch upon the fact that we'll be incorporating I Spy chili games. So it would be a great way for people to look at chilies, and if they guess the right number of peppers within the video, this will translate into additional discounts and later purchases. And moreover, we want people talking about this. This is an awesome new idea, and we want to share it on social media. So we have some hashtags like #ChiliLens, where we will be able to share and really have the community grow from our new idea. We want to first talk about why VR. Virtual reality is an extremely fast-growing technology phenomenon that's taking the world by storm. It has not only been talked about in the tech world, but it's also coming to the consumer market, which is why it's more of a viable option. And it resonates really well with how millennials shop today. over 70% of millennials talk about how they would rather spend money on the experience as opposed to the goods. And it resonates with the fact that Chili Beans wants to sell their lifestyle. In addition, we have companies in the past that have been implementing VR into their marketing campaigns. Take North Face, or Marriott, or Patron. Patron, for example, has been using virtual reality headsets to walk through consumers through their production process. And they want them to be part of their family. And we believe that Chili Beans can do this better. I mean, think about it, it comes hand in hand, right? Technological lenses, sunglass lenses. At the end of the day, we want consumers to be able to see what it's like to see through the eyes of a Chili Bean. So, first and foremost, we believe that this is physically possible. In order to grow in the US, it is imperative that Chili Beans operates more than just in California. We have selected a few priority target states, such as Hawaii, New York, and Florida, based on these criterion points for these new kiosk stands to be established. In addition, we believe, and we have done the numbers, and we see that the initiative is cost efficient and brand enhancing. In the first year alone, we are seeing an increase of 6.4% in revenues, and by year 3, 2018, we are expecting positive returns. Because this is a hot field and a lot of technology firms are getting involved, VR headsets are actually not as expensive as you might think. A Samsung Gear VR, for example, is only $1,000, and we think this is a viable option given your company's cash flows. In addition, we believe that more footfalls in the kiosks will translate to additional sales. We have projected that there will be 12 times an increase in the number of footfalls across all of your kiosks over the course of the next 5 years. And we have taken a very conservative assumption, saying that only 0.5% of these footfalls will translate to an incremental sale of sunglasses. But even with that conservative assumption, look at how fast our revenue is growing. And last but not least, we want to emphasize the point that by integrating this VR headset, you'll be able to truly modernize your brand. We want Chili Beans to be that modern, slick, sleek, and fresh brand that consumers can really relate to. And now my partner Nas will talk about how we can reinforce this brand through our online and social media presence.
Thank you, Kevin. So, online shopping is another frontier that you need to tap in order to conquer. Given the fact that US e-commerce trend is growing rapidly for the last few years, also you have been performing really well, increasing the online sale by 30% in just 1 year. However, there are a lot more work to be done. Given the fact that current presence inside the US compared to in Brazil in terms of social media, there is a large gap. Also, comparing to more ordinary sunglasses such as Ray-Ban, they surprisingly have a very high traffic in the website. And given that we have such a unique product, this is where we have the potential to create a buzz online. So the question boils down to how can we do it? And the key answer lies upon customer engagement. That customer engagement should be reinforced in a very brand new competition, and that is Chili Bean competition. A fun, interactive, social competition that would fall around competing to design a brand new sunglasses. So this idea falls upon the classic concept that you have provided a customized machine inside your flagship store. So we expand that into more scalable level, putting it into online. And then the 3 simple steps is, first, you just need to have an Facebook account to sign up. Then you create the wildest design of your sunglasses, and boom, if you win, you'll be going to the fashion cruise. And not only that, your winning design will be incorporated to the new collection of Chili Beans. So we see that the key of success to this event is the level of participation. Therefore, we propose you to do a celebrity endorsement. With this endorsement, you'll be able to have a massive presence and also influential power upon your target market. And by that said, you need to have a right person in order to communicate this message to. And we are basing on 4 main criteria. Level of influence to millennials, matching lifestyle, matching with the core value of the company, and lastly, the number of the followers. So some example is Lady Gaga. She is a very pop, trendy artist, and she is also very unique. And the fact that she is stand up against the domestic violence is incorporated with the core value of the company as well. So she is such a perfect example for this celebrity endorsement. And the benefit of this competition is to prompt. So not only the customer will be able to resonate their ideas and you will put those ideas into action, but also the company will be able to enhance the brand image and also gain a lot of customer insights from those submission of design, and you can eventually create a more structured due diligence system, knowing the preference of different type of the customers. So this strategy is also financially impactful by increasing the revenue online by 53%, and it would also drive more followers to your online platform and traffic in the online website. So now let me pass on to Noah to talk about integration of core values.
Thank you, Renata. So now, so far we've seen two strategies, both of which enhance brand awareness as well as revenues. But we've yet to focus on strategies which establish why Chili Beans is so amazing, and that's because of its people as well as its culture. And this is seen as an issue in the US, where employees are not as motivated as they are in Brazil. And we need to establish a way to nourish these employees as well as have a cohesive global community for Chili Beans. Alright, so before we get into the details of the initiative, it's imperative that we first say what we base it off of. We base it off of Hofstede's core value model, but more specifically off of the uncertainty avoidance aspect of it. If you look at this graph, we clearly see that in Brazil, there's a higher level of uncertainty avoidance, whereas in the United States is quite lower. And this implies that in the US, employees prefer to have more autonomy, as well as prefer to have a bit of a more ambiguous job. So they want to have some decision-making authority. So this leads us to our initiative. Essentially what we want to do is we want to give employees the autonomy, and we're going to do this through an employee-led initiative. The employee-led initiative is essentially where employees can propose strategies to headquarters, and headquarters can then decide if they want to budget for it or not. Strategies can be, ranging from operational efficiency to, let's say, promoting a graffiti or DJ concert, or even a snowboarding event. Essentially, what this is meant to do is it's meant to increase a sense of purpose, as well as increase intrinsic motivation for the employees. Alright, so now let's dive into some financials of the overall strategy. Essentially, these strategies will increase profits by 36% from 2016 to 2020, and more specifically, growth rates are actually going to be continuous and accelerating. And if we look at the financial summary, we will see that costs are actually quite low for these initiatives. That being said, it's sustainable, and because it's affordable, and more specifically, it's actually very easily implementable. And that takes us to our implementation. Based off our implementation timeline, we can see that it's very easily implementable, and that we can get started right away in the first half of 2016. And more of what we see is that the implementation is actually reoccurring. That means that it's not only short term, but it's also long term as well. And now I will pass off to Anton to conclude our strategy.
Thank you. So what we present to you today is a three-point strategy. First, we introduce the virtual reality kiosk to boost profits and modernize our brand. Second, we introduce the Chili Bee Design Competition. This is a way to increase our social media and e-commerce presence. Thirdly, we introduce the employee-led programming initiative. And this is a way to increase employee participation and to solidify our brand. So with this strategy, where we reinforce, redefine, and re-oxygenize, this strategy will put you on the road to becoming a living legend. Obrigado, thank you, and we're now ready to take any questions you might have.
You mentioned at the beginning of your presentation that you believe country the US is a cornerstone to the world. Knowing how much investment it takes to succeed and what we've been doing today, why do you think that point of difference?
Based on investment?
Yeah.
Well, I think to begin with, it's because of its market size as well. More specifically, because we tailored our recommendation to being very low cost, but also very effective. That was the majority of the reason why we chose the US. But to add on to that, it's really because Brazil is in such a hard time right now, and since they're actually paying their manufacturers in US dollars, it also benefits us to get some USD revenue at the same time.
Yeah. And on that note, we did have some hesitations in the future because we were noticing that the currency was devaluing against Brazil's favor. But our rationale is we should get in there quick and get in there as fast as we can, because we have no idea where the market's going to go from now on. And if it's on the track of devaluing more, our investments in the future will be more expensive.
How do you see the difference between the customer trends in US?
Sorry, if you give us 1 moment, please.
Yes, certainly. We split this into three trend groups. The first one is experiential value. The customers, they want an experience, and the numbers we mentioned in the presentation that more than 70% they spend more on experiences, and they plan to increase their spending in the future. So this is a huge trend in the US. More of the growth in e-commerce. Growth has just been going at it for years, and the prognosis is that it's going to continue with around 12% CAGR in the coming years as well. And the final trend is the personalized retail. It's a very important. People say that actually there was a trend that they were willing to spend up to 25% more for a more personalized experience, and if they get the more engagement when they're consuming and what they're buying. So that was also, we tried to address these three pillars. So the personalized retail was also part of the competition, the engagement. We wanted to address that pillar and that trend as well.
Chili Bean is very much based on lifestyle as a brand, and it's a lifestyle that is not easily translatable into North American culture. Why, other than the fact that the CEO would like to expand perhaps in the States, why would you choose to go in the States instead of going to another Latin America or Latin culture market? Because I think that this brand is not easily translatable in North America.
So I think it starts off with the answer to our previous question about how US market size is extremely profitable. And we want to emphasize the fact that the brand is built upon individuality. So while it may be difficult to translate initially because hey, there's some guy from Brazil coming in with new glasses that might be taken the wrong way. But we do believe that because of how valuable our products actually are, it'd be a good way for American consumers to be introduced to the product. In addition, we also want to emphasize the fact that that's why we decided to go into the virtual reality kiosks, because we want consumers to have a more interactive, more immersive experience when it comes to what's really like to be a Chili Bean. So what it's like to really see through the eyes of, for example, Ketumana. And that's what we really want to build through the VR experience.
And just to add on to what Kevin said, I mean, if you look at the Hofstede model that I showed, it's actually, Americans are way more individual than Brazilians. And this can be seen as two-pronged. It's good for the customers because they're more individual. It's also good for the employees because they're also more individual. So it's kind of a two-pronged approach to this.
I have a question on your financial summary slides. Here you have quite a high growth rate over the next few years, I guess. Is this a best case scenario, or did you do an analysis of worst, best baseline, and what assumptions? Maybe just walk us through it quickly.
Sure. So we'll walk you quickly through some of the financials we did. So we have 3 sets of financials. So we have one with the under assumption that we are not implementing any stores. And that was the case because we noticed that stores and the cost of stores, which I will show you in a bit, that has been extremely expensive. We have a case with stores, and then we have financials for our e-commerce platform, and then we'll go through some sensitivity analysis. So our assumptions were based on the fact that we weren't given a lot of financial data when it came to how much, for example, kiosks generated in terms of sales compared to the overall portfolio. But we based it off of the fact that we knew that Americans, within the American market, there were roughly around 4 million in sales. So off that, we estimated the number of customers, and we went on to that further by saying that a percentage of these customers will be coming to visit our kiosk, just to visit. In addition, we also assumed that a small conservative number of just 2% will be coming to also visit our kiosk on an annual basis. From there, we combined the 2 groups, and we said that out of all those footfalls, just 0.5% of those will come and make 1 sale. So we actually consider our assumptions to be very conservative, and we have mapped the revenues accordingly. We also did a few cost analyses to see if it's actually feasible. And those are the numbers that you see above. You know, for example, it's extremely cheap to open a kiosk. It's just roughly around $25,000. And we have some reoccurring variable costs. But as you can see, in the first 2 years, it is a little bit shaky. That's why we only see positive returns like in year 3 in 2018.
And this is funded
Yeah.
by internal revenue growth?
Yeah,
Or
so under spreadsheet, under financials, we did see a positive profit line, and we wanted to access that. In addition, they also have 8 stores within the US market, so we believe that using those revenues from those stores, we're able to tap into them and grow. And even within our kiosks, we're not looking for like vast expansion either. We're not saying let's set up like 50 kiosks from day one. We're saying let's start with 5. Start from 5 in California and probably Nevada where it's very close, and then from there grow it up.
Okay, thanks.
How do you see Chili Beans' market position within the prescription eyewear, both in Brazil and the US? I think
Okay,
that's,
so for competitor analysis, we have seen that Chili Beans has been condensed with also with the competition from domestically and also internationally. The position of Chili Beans right now, even though they are actually in a good position with the low medium price, but also offering high lifestyle, but within that range of the prices, there are variable options such as Sunglasses Hut or a domestic player such as Caro. This is portrayed as a competitor in terms of the price wise. And for lifestyle wise, we have Ray-Ban, we have Oakley, and we have Wolf, which is also considered as a higher stylish kind of competitor. So Chili Beans right now is on a compressed. It's compressed in terms of competition in price and also in lifestyle.
I guess my question is not about the brand positioning, but more about prescription eyewear as a product line itself. So they have sunglasses, they have watches, and they have
And prescription costs.
yeah. So how do you see this right now? It doesn't take a big chunk of their strategy, but it is a much bigger market than sunglasses, obviously, and it is growing. So how do you see this? And it's more stable than sunglasses, which is pretty cyclical with the season. So
Right.
how,
So the reason why we decided to first tackle sunglasses is because looking at the portfolio, it's the majority of what they offer in terms of their product mix. And we do agree, the sunglasses market, for example, in the United States is only $3.4 billion in terms of retail overall like, size, it's roughly around $34 billion. So sunglasses definitely account for a smaller portion. But the thing is, when we first looked at our strategies, we realized that we really want to market the whole like, lifestyle aspect of Chili Beans. And sunglasses is definitely more of a sexier product than prescription glasses. So we decided that let's take this core competency first, let's build it out, especially because our suggestions were more in terms of like short term as opposed to long term. And then later on, let us expand the product mix.
We have a little over 5 minutes left for questions.
So right now in the US, the way people shop is they kind of walk beside kiosks. They don't think it's high quality. They don't really consider them. You're creating something that is better, but how are you going to tell people that this is a better kiosk than what they're used to?
So it first starts with utilizing our current online and social media presence. And what we really want to do is make sure that people have the word, definitely online, but I think we pride ourselves in the fact that Chili Beans employees are very flamboyant and they're very out there. So we have no doubt that when people are in malls, like they'll definitely be able to attract attention. And we do believe that with these awesome VR headsets, we'll have like lines and lines of people wanting to give them a try. And while people are gathering on kiosks trying to figure out like, oh, how many chili beans or how many chili peppers are within the videos, we'll have our sales force who are very charismatic individuals highlighting and talking about our products.
So you're thinking of changing the sales force that's currently there that's not doing a good job, or you're just internally?
I think it's more. I think it's more not changing, but what we wanted with our third initiative was to engage the U.S. in a way and engage our customers in a way so we can more match it with the enthusiasm that we found in our Brazilian operation, where they have this enthusiasm and the customers they can see that. So that was what we wanted to create in the U.S. as well. So it's not as much about, this is not a big revolution for us. We need to find the same thing we have in the US and have the same kind of salespeople there, our sales gurus, as we have in other operations.
And to add on to that, the fact that we are expanding internationally, it is the dilution of the workforce in terms of the communication of the core value is very important. And at the end of the day, it is the culture that is the foundation, and it is the most important thing that would drive this company forward.
It says in the case that the company has about 60 million dollar in debt as of 2015. Your business model of the kiosk is generating $500,000 in the first year, if I remember properly. My question is how, like, where the money is gonna come from to, well, just launching a product in the US, we're counting, even though they already launched technically, we're counting a couple of millions, if not between 8 and 10 for a soft launch, we can say. And you are wanting to engage like some major celebrities and everything, where the money is gonna come from? Because it's the company doesn't really have any money per se.
We totally
They
agree.
have cash flow.
Yeah. And when we saw the debt numbers, we were like, oh my god. And to be completely honest, when we first started the analysis, we were under the assumption that our US products and our US growth won't be the only aspect of the company that's fueling the debt. And we honestly believe that this debt obligation will be repaid over the course of not only just 5 years, but over the course of a longer long term.
Okay.
And we did look into alternative financing options. So we looked at 6 different options in terms of where they can get additional capital from. The case mentioned that they were looking into IPO, but again, we highly suggest that's not the case, and they should not do it for multiple reasons. Actually, like, we did do an IPO analysis in terms of ownership dilution, just being able to pay off dividends won't be feasible. And just going back to the financing options, we didn't want to usher any common equity, for example, because Katsumaya currently has 70%, and he's probably not a big fan of losing majority ownership. And in addition, we strayed away from preferred shares because we didn't want to provide any obligations in which we had to pay dividends when we did not have, like you said, proper cash flows. And moreover, we didn't want to take out more debt. So we looked into the alternative financing options, and we noticed that those weren't viable. So we were considering a lot of our internal revenue from the States to fuel our new initiatives within the States. So we were hoping that would be the case. And in terms of celebrity endorsements, we were hoping Lady Gaga would, the fact that Katsumaya has been able to bring in big names such as Beatles and such as Rita Lee already, we were hoping that he had these connections to really vibe with Lady Gaga and be like, can you come on board?
So you didn't factor into any costs towards
So we did actually. So like going back into some of our financials. So if we were to go to like our e-commerce and platform financials, we included some sort of so for example in competition management, we were hoping that would be where some of the costs would be coming from. So we added definitely line items to ensure that we were accounting for any costs that we would see up front.
And do you have any budget to promote that and tell people that this contest is happening?
Well, we believe like the beauty of social media is that it's free.
Welcome to the real world.
That is not.
That would just
We were really hoping to tap into network effects, so that's where our starting point would have been.
We have 15 seconds left.
I think that's good.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.